Hey guys, welcome back to the Go to Aesthetics Coach podcast. Thank you so much for being here. So, this week we're going to continue a bit from last week where we're focusing on sales skills and development for you as the clinic founder and your team. Okay, because this is where I see a huge gap with clinics in terms of how they're bringing revenue into the clinic because you can be doing amazing marketing. But if there's leaks in your sales funnel or with your sales strategy, all the work that you're doing with your marketing it's pointless. And so it's really, really important here to tighten up how sales are being done in the clinic with your entire team. Usually, what I see is that the founder can sell and bring clients in. I'm not going to say no problem, but it's a lot easier, right? And they can typically get the calendar full for themselves. But then when it comes to getting the rest of their team fully booked, it's another story. So the reason that I'm focusing a lot on sales over the next coming weeks is because I want to see everyone in your clinic become like sales ninjas. Like I want them to be able to convert 8 out of 10 people that are walking through the door or that are messaging through DMs, emails, on the phone, whatever it may be. Okay, so we're going to be focusing on objection handling this week. And I'm also going to touch a little bit on tonality and just some pieces of advice. So I have my notes here and I'm going to go through them. And then I got my handy dandy whiteboard here as well. I'm going to put all the different objections on here so that you would have a visual as well. Of course, the keynotes from this episode. And if you want to direct message me on my Instagram, which is at Alora, then I'm going to actually make a resource document to go along with this with all of the different objection handling and techniques that you can print off and share with your staff. So I hope you find value today and let's just get into it. All right. So just to touch a little bit from last week, we talked about the framework for in the sales process. So again, you want to create your introductions, you want to create rapport, and you want to frame the call. Like framing means you want to talk about the reason for my visit here today, or in terms of a med spot. So it's like, all right, so today we're going to be discussing the protocol that we recommend for clearing your acne. Okay. And you want to build rapport. You want to be personable. You want to start creating trust there. You want to be funny. You don't have to be funny, but you want to just, you want to be likable and personable. And it's where you start to connect. It's all about human connection. So this is really, you want to take the opportunity to just make them feel comfortable and get ready for the rest of the conversation. Then we moved into question-based selling and story-based selling. So these are the two techniques I really like to use. And this is actually the biggest portion of the sales funnel. So you should, if you're, a well-seasoned salesperson, be talking 20% of the time. Well, the person in front of you is talking 80% of the time because you want to be drawing out information. This is data that you're going to use further in the call. And so you're asking a lot of the right questions, you're probing, you're provoking. And I like to personally dash in some storytelling as well. So it's nice to just like pull in a story. So in perspective of a med spa, you could have even like a one pager or a couple one pagers of some of your best success stories. Like we're going to focus on acne protocol today. And so like we could say, oh, we have Sarah here, we have Mark here. This is the protocol they did. This is their before, this is their after. This is what they went through with us. And this is what the investment can get you to. This is why we feel like this would be a good fit for you because look at the transformation that Mark and Sarah had. I would have like even those one pagers with your success stories, laminate them and have them there with your sales coordinator or whoever is doing the consultation. Doesn't really matter. And I would have a place where you can sit, whether that's in the consultation room or the treatment room, and you take them through a thorough consultation process, which is part of the selling process. And you're able to go through the protocol to educate and to go through this formula that I'm showing you. So we do the introduction, we do question based and storytelling. Then that's going to bring into you wanting to preempt your objections that are going to happen no matter what in this conversation. So everyone, unless it's like a very rare chance, is going to have some kind of objections. And you want to make sure that you talk about them beforehand, before we even leave it to the end where the close is, where they're going to bring it up. Like, let's like bring it out. Like we can either bring it up or we can get them to bring it up before we even get to that part. That is how seasoned reps, sales professionals, that is how they set up a successful call. And that is how they have a smooth call, like close. So it's all about setting the call up in the right way. So we're going to preempt any objections that we know as a professional that's going to come our way and just throw it out there and tackle them. Okay. Then we want to go to building value. So this is where we really get into like the protocol, the education, why we believe that this protocol is actually going to bring the results that they're looking for. What's the science behind it? What are your case studies, your testimonials, like your success stories with it? Why do those relate to this specific person in front of you? How do you fill the gap and relate it so that they feel like, oh wow, yeah, like it worked for them, it can work for me. Build value, educate, close. Well, when we think about med spas, it's really high ticket selling because we are not here to sell one-off treatments. That's not how anyone gets successful. And that is not how we're going to make it. And that's not how we're going to get to the revenue bracket that I want you to get at. Of course, we need to be selling packages. It's an investment, it's a higher ticket item. These can be thousands of dollars, right? So we aren't just doing regular sales, we're doing high ticket sales. Okay. And that's why that process that I just explained to you is so important. We're taking them through a journey, and that journey is typically going to take about half an hour. Okay. And in terms of a med spa, like you can do in half an hour. So if you ever get into a situation where you're doing this consult call, you're presenting the package and you do not feel that the person in front of you is bought in, that all that means is that they do not feel that the value outweighs the cost of the investment. So it means we need to go back to that formula and we need to see, like, we need to fill in more of those gaps there. It just means that there's more work to be done before the close. Because if you've truly created protocols that can help treat people and you truly feel like you can help this person get to their goal, then it means you can sell this person. But there's more work to be done. Okay. Now, and when this happens, I want you to loop back to the question based selling and then the preempting objections and the storytelling that's weaved in there. So, when we're doing this, how we really connect the dots for the person in front of us is we need to provoke emotions. So, I mentioned before in those question based selling period, it's about probing, getting information out of them, and then it's provoking the data points that you got from them. So you want to provoke it a little bit, not in a way where you're like pissing them off, but like in a way where you're making them think critically. Because we're not really selling here. We're putting them in a position, we are coaching them and educating them to make an empowered decision for themselves. Okay. They came into your clinic because they are interested in something, they want something. And we're just having a conversation to diagnose this with them and uncover if this is a viable solution for them. And then they are the ones who can make an empowered choice about that. But we need to do our side of it by being like having a good articulation in sales and strategy and how we can conduct these kind of conversations. That sun is like very bright. Okay. Okay, so it's about evoking emotions. You want them to feel like this is an emotional process, and that's when we're going to be talking about the certain pain points that they are experiencing. So, back to our example with acne, this is a very emotional subject for people, right? With acne, it's typically something that people have been struggling with for years. It's affecting their confidence. It's affecting how they show up in their life every single day. It's affecting them at work, probably in their personal life. It's affecting like how they show up in the world. And chances are they just are think about it a lot where they're like been struggling to find a solution for this for a long time. And they often think like, oh, if I wish I had clear skin. And if I had clear skin, I might be raising my hand more at work and giving my opinion, being more of a leader, stepping more into that future self, into that identity. There's a lot being held back by when there's a lack of confidence in someone and they want to feel like they do not have to like wear a bunch of makeup and that they can feel confident in their own skin. Like that's what it's all about. So we want to ask the right question to provoke and bring those feelings out. So we're bringing that to the surface so that they're thinking about this and not even only thinking about it, feeling it viscerally about, what's going on here and then the decision that they need to make and if it's the right choice for them. Like how do they actually feel right now with the current situation that they're in? It's like visceral, right? Like it's like we need to make them feel that like all these years of struggling to clear it. Like how is that affecting them on a day-to-day basis? We need to ask those questions so they feel it in the moment and it's going to help them make that empowered decision. And then, there's other things that we can bring in. I'm going to touch on these strategies more in depth in other episodes. But, there's always that like analogy. You can break down the cost of the investment. And depending on the cost of the investment, you can think of whatever you want. But like, let me just do some quick math here. So like a one that people use a lot is like you could be like, hey, just curious, like, what's your Starbucks order? A matcha latte, like I love a matcha latte too. And it's like $8. Let's say you get a latte like 5 days a week. Okay. So 8 times 5, yeah, that's $40. times like what, 4 weeks, it's $160 a month. Okay, times 12 months, like, yeah, that's like almost $2,000. So let's just say like this package is $2,000. It could be more. You can make a different analogy, but as an example. So like, you're spending about $2,000 a year on your Starbucks. What, like, I mean, just putting things into perspective here, like what is more important to you? Like we all love our Starbucks, but like if we can really get you to having clear skin and feeling confident, and you bring up the things that they talked about during this process, blah, 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 blah. Like what, like, I'm just curious, like, what do you think would make you feel better? Like what choice makes more sense for you? It's just about talking about it, right? And then like, it's just like logically like, oh shoot, like, yeah, like I love my coffee, but like my whole life I've wanted clear skin. Like it's been a dream of mine. Like I've tried so many things and I just can't, it's just nothing has worked. Like I'm so sick and tired of it. But if you really have a solution, you really think you can help them and you've helped others, there's a good chance here that you could help change someone's life. Like that, clearing someone's acne has a huge impact. All right, that's one way. And then another tactic is opportunity cost. So this is something that a lot of people actually like, they don't think about opportunity costs. People are always just thinking, okay, what is the cost? How expensive is it? But to make these empowered decisions, it's about thinking of all aspects and thinking like in depth about like actually thinking this out. Okay. So like, yeah, there's a cost, but what is the cost if I do not do this? What's the opportunity cost? Right. So it's like, if this person decides to wait another 6 to 12 months and not buy this package to clear his or her acne, what is that going to really mean to them? Like, do they want to spend another year struggling with their acne? Like it's just like putting it out there so they can actually like logically think about like, oh shoot, like, you know what? No, like I don't. You're right. Like this is, it is $2,000, but you pay for what you get. And like, if you really think you can do this, like, yeah, I do not want to wait another year and come back in another year and be like, I'm still struggling with my acne. So it's about making them just think critically. Now, another part of this is your tonality. So tonality is how you speak to someone. Of course, we have like different types of tonality, and I just want to talk about a few different ones of them and where we can use them. So, of course, it's like a playful tonality where you're like kind of joking, like when I was talking about the Starbucks, like, what's your favorite Starbucks order? Oh, I love that. Like, matcha is my favorite too, blah, blah, blah. That's a playful. You want to do that in the intro when you're building rapport and you're opening up the conversation, you're setting the room and you're framing the conversation. What else? So, what did I put here? You also want to have, of course, like direct. So direct is like, how I'm talking now. It's very direct. It's informative. You use that when you're talking about cost. And another thing I'll say about cost, because people, they kind of get nervous when they're talking about cost because they're like, oh my God, like, what are they going to think? Are they going to do it? Blah, blah, blah. Don't be afraid to like make a statement and don't say anything after. Like after you say what the investment is for the package is $4,500. Just shut up. Just like don't say anything. And it's kind of awkward. Let there be silence, but like that is good. Because sometimes people actually like you're nervous, like you're like, oh my God, they're thinking like that too much. But most of the time, they're actually just like actually thinking about it for a sec. They're thinking of all the things like, oh God, like what will my husband or wife think, or like, okay, could I move some money from my savings, or like, do I really think that this will help me, and like, is it worth it? Like they're thinking for a second, so give them time to think. Like let there be that pause and let them talk first after that. Like once you say that investment price, just casual, of course. So, casual is just like, normal, casual, friendly. Typically you want to do that like once you're closing, because it's closing is more of like an uptight part of the conversation in general. So it's like, what can we do to alleviate that a little bit? Like we just want to be casual about it. Like we don't want to make it a big deal. Like, yeah, the investment's like 4,500, like it's not like, it's just like making it casual. It just lightens the load a bit. Okay. And then there's two more. So you could also do confused or confusing. So like, how can I explain this? So like, it's just like saying something like, well, do you even feel like something like this would like, is this something that you actually want? Like we just bring it back, like, so that they think, well, yeah, like I do want to clear my acne. So it's like, okay, so well, what is it that's holding you back? Like, just curious, like you just want to like, you could just be like confused, like curious, I guess you could say. And then you can also bring in like concerned, like, where it's like, hey, like you can do like obviously whatever you want. Like I'm just here to help you lay the options. But like, are you sure that you want to like wait another year of trying to figure this out? Like it's just because like going back to what you were explaining to me, like you were telling me that, this has really affected your life. And When I go back to like my story with Sarah, like you guys actually remind me of each other and like what you had going on and what you were sharing. And like, I just, I want to see like, is that, did I do my part and did I explain everything on my end? So that you can make an informed decision. Or, like there's so much more that you can go into, but there's concern and confusing. You want to typically pull those out when you're doing objections. Okay. And another thing that you can do with your like body language is when you're talking about this more concern, confusing, serious things, you can lean into the camera or not camera, but like you're probably doing it in person, but you can like lean into them. It makes people connect more. Other little things, it's you want to try to have confidence, right? Like you don't want to be like touching it like nervous, like twiddling with your hair constantly. You want to be confident. You want to present yourself well. And then, okay, yeah. So, and then one thing, so like clinics are going to be different, right? Some have very set prices. Some will have a little bit of flexibility. Like it just depends who, like, is this the founder talking to them and they have the authority to drop it a couple $100s if they feel like that's going to get the sale. If you're allowing the people selling for you to do that, have leeway, or if it's just a firm set price, there's no right or wrong. But if there is some leeway in the price and you do feel like there's a genuine block to them being able to afford something and you can drop it a bit to make them afford it and close today, then what you can do is you can just kind of look uncomfortable and see like, oh, gosh, like, look, I'm not really allowed to like do this for everyone. And like, if we did this, like, I would hope that we can just kind of keep it between the two of us. But, because I can't offer it to everyone in the public, but, I really want to help you out. And I feel really passionate about what you've shared with me and what we can do here. Like you really remind me to Sarah, who we talked about, and how much has changed her life. I want to see that for you. So look, if we can drop the price from 4,500 to like 4,000, would you be able to lock that in today, or not lock that in, but would you be able to, get that booked out today? And then, we can make it happen for you. Like just something like that. But you want to like look uncomfortable and like you want to make them feel kind of like you're doing them like a favor and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm not really supposed to do this, but like I really want to help you out. So like, yeah, that's a little technique. All right. Now let's go to our objections. These guys are so important because there's no sales call without objections. All right. Objections is next week. We're going to go more into types of closes. So closing at the end stage, having a firm close, which is a very important part of the sales process. So we need types of closes. Let's see this guy. Types of closes. Okay. All right. So the first one is confidence close. Apologies for the messy writing, guys. One is your confidence close. So, I'm just going to give an example to each. Okay. So the investment the investment to do this 90-day protocol to clear your acne is just $4,000. And then, like I mentioned this earlier, actually, then you stop. A lot of people ramble on after that and they're nervous and just stop. The first person who talks loses. And that's actually in like The Wolf of Wall Street, if you watch that movie. Okay. So I'm going to say it again. Look, the investment for the 90-day acne protocol is just $4,000. Silence. Okay. That's the confidence one. You're being confident about it. Okay. The second one is the authentic close. Okay. Example for that. Oh my gosh. Okay. So emotional. So let's be real. Sorry. I'm going to check that that's my son. Okay. He'll message me. Sorry, guys. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. So the authentic close. So this is where we're emotional. We're like, okay, let's be real. Like, let's just be real. And you use your body language that's like really coming from the heart. Like, look, like, let's just put everything aside right now. Like, let's just be real. Like, blah, 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 blah. So it's when you're just like really getting like down to earth. You're just like, fuck everything. Okay. I'm just going to talk you and me right now. Okay. That's the authentic close. And then there is the value close. Okay. Value close is where you make people feel special. So it's like, hey, what if I could throw in for the 6 treatment protocol, our acne protocol? I also just want to throw in our red light therapy add-on. It's normally an extra $45 per session, but like, I just want to throw that in for you because I just really like you. And I'm super excited to have this transformation for you. So yeah, how does that sound? Like you just want to like make them feel really special. And you can even say something like, look, I don't do this for everyone, but I really want you to try the red therapy add-on. Like it just makes your skin so glowy after. And it's normally like 45 extra per session, but like I'm just going to throw it in. Okay. So that is the value. Next is the choice close. Choice. Okay. So a choice is like when you're closing out and you're like, okay, so let's get your first session booked in. Does Wednesday or Thursday work for you to come in? So instead of being like, okay, let's get you booked in, like what day, we're pretty open like the next couple weeks, like what day works for you? Like make it as easy as possible always. So let's say, okay, next week, Wednesday or Thursday, what day works for you? And then go from there. Okay. Next one is the future vision close. Future vision close. Example of that is, okay, so this is when you just need to do like, you feel like it's a harder close and you feel like they're just not really, they're not fully on board yet. And you kind of been working on it for a while. Sometimes people are like just over like stimulated, just like over whatever, tired. It's been a long day. Maybe that this is like after a full day of work, like who knows what's going on in their lives. And they're just like, it's just like a lot to think about right now. Like thinking about a $4,500 purchase right now. It's just like after today, like had such a stressful day at work. And I'm like, just so sometimes people just need a mental reset. So what you can do here is you can just be like, so like say you're in a consultation with someone and you're just feeling that, you're like, I'm so sorry. Do you mind if I just run out? I'll be 30 seconds. I just need to grab a glass of water. I'm sorry. I've been like go, go, go all day today. And I'm just like so thirsty. I'll be back in 30 seconds. And when you do that, when you walk out of the room and you just go grab a glass of water or whatever, like they're there for like 30, 60 seconds. So they're like, of course, they're gonna be like, yeah, no problem. And they're going to be like, They just kind of like, they might probably go on their phone and be like, okay. And then you come back, they've reset because they put their mind on something else for a second. And then it's like you ask, oh, okay, so like where were we? And then it gets, and whatever they say after you say, oh, were we? That is what's on top of their mind. That is their pain point. That is the block. Okay. So it literally just identifies what is holding them back. And that is what you work on. Okay. So moving forward, close is like when you're like already future pacing them into like they've already signed up. They are already going to start the acne protocol. So you could be like, I can't wait for you to get to session 3. Cause in session 3, part of the protocol is that we add this hydrotherapy. And it's one of my favorite parts of the protocol because after you do it, your skin feels so refreshed and dewy and you have like that glass skin afterwards. It's one of my favorite parts. So like, I just can't wait. You're going to enjoy that so much. Like, it's like it's getting them excited for like, and just the mindset that they're already doing this. Like you've already kind of talking about like, yeah, you're already assuming that they're going to sign up. So that would be the moving forward close. Like maybe they really had their mind stuck on something like, okay, like let's say part of the acne protocol is microneedling and they had their mind set because they have a friend who did a microneedling or even this like protocol or whatever and like included their neck and they're like feeling like they have tech knot lines on their neck or just like they're starting to see aging in their neck and they're like excited about having that included and it's important to them to kind of have that included, then they might keep bringing something like that up. Like they might keep being like, well, yeah, like, so I just want to like clarify, like, doesn't include the neck, doesn't include the neck. Like it's been brought up a few times. So that's when in the close, you can do a conditional close because it's an indicator to you that that's really important to them. And of course, it's like, if you can, like, this really depends. People have different levels of flexibility and what they're willing to do. It's just an option. But you can be like, like at the end, it could be a way to close them. So if you know that's important to them, it's just another tool in your toolbox. You could be like, look, I know you brought up a few times, like you're excited about having the neck add on as well. And girl, I totally get that. I am starting to see aging in my neck as well. And like I have been starting the treatments and I'm so happy. Like I love the results. You brought it up a few times. So like it's not normally included, but look, if we move forward with this today, I'm going to include that in every other treatment for you. Does that sound good? Something like that. Okay, so scarcity close is like if you really feel like genuinely that the person in front of you does not have the money for this, and you know that the reason like they're genuinely not moving forward is because the money is a block. It's not because of something else, like they don't feel like the value or there's a spouse that they need to talk to or something like that. What you can do instead of like, you don't always have to like add something into for free, right? Another tactic is that you can say, okay, no problem, easy. You know what we can do, we can take $1,000 off the package price and we'll just take out the LED light on each session or whatever you want, right? It's just like easy. Like it's just make it like, all right, no problem. You know what? Let's just make it a bit customized for you. We'll take out, or even like the neck, like we're going to take out the neck treatment for each session. We're going to be able to take out $1,000 off the total price today. Then that makes it so that you can move forward. Does that work for you? You can just do something like that. So again, these are the tactics that you can use to help bring someone over the edge to close the client or the patient in front of you. Sales is an art. It's really important to know these things and to have them in your back pocket because most people out there they're just introducing themselves. They're being pretty generic and robotic with the same speech with everyone and just saying, like, here's our protocol, here's the package price, and expecting that's going to close people. It doesn't. It's an art. There's different things that we can say and do. And again, at the end of the day, this is not about selling someone. This is about coaching someone to make an empowered decision to see if it's a fit, to see can we actually help this person? And if so, like this is how we're going to facilitate that process. Okay. So again, confidence close, authentic close, value close, choice close, future vision close, moving forward, conditional and scarcity. I'm going to have more details on this wrapped up in the show notes. And if you want that resource, just ping me on Instagram and you will have that. You can go over and share it with your team. And thanks so much for being here, guys. I love doing these. I love that we're diving deep on sales because I feel like there's such a gap in the market. And just like, of course, like people don't know the art of sales unless they've done the work and trained on it, right? I had to do a lot of different schooling and work with a lot of different business mentors to like figure out the depths of this. And I've also been in sales since I was 21. So there's that too. But it's something that I really feel passionate about training people on because I think it can completely change a business and your life. So there we go. Have an amazing rest of your day, guys. And I will see you next week.